Hey everybody, this is Doomhammer coming back with a recap of the Week 1 32-team franchise, Season 12. Starting out, we had Thursday Night Football with the Super Bowl champion Eagles taking on the Niners. As you can see, the Eagles had no difficulty taking them on. McNabb with 4 touchdowns and 333 yards. Then you had the Panthers versus the Saints. So this time, the Panthers are able to come away with a victory over the Byron Leftwich Saints. We see Joe Flacco leading the way there with 255 yards, but also 3 turnovers. But Leftwich also had 3 turnovers, but we see Ben Tate and Flacco with a rushing touchdown. Isaiah Peed, he had a decent, had a pretty weak game actually. And he is going to be suspended next game because during this year, he was suspended 1 game. I didn't notice that until after this game. So he will be suspended next week for that suspension. And then we have the Minnesota Vikings. RG3 having no problems slicing up Detroit. We see Tannehill only with 120 yards, but Reggie Bush with 111. He did break a 46-yard touchdown run. Very impressive running back for Reggie Bush. Gronk there with 88 receiving yards for the Vikings. Then Cleveland having a swell day against the Cincinnati Bengals. Good for them. What we see there is Terrell Pryor with 219 yards. Protected the ball fairly well other than that 1 fumble, but no interceptions. He ran for 64 yards. And then very much a running back by committee. You got 2 touchdowns by Joique Bell, 1 from Hillis, 1 for Felix Jones, 1 from Pryor. We see good distribution in the passing game. We got Roddy White, the new acquisition from Kansas City in the offseason, Dwayne Allen, Anthony Gonzalez. And then you got Bell, Travis Benjamin, and Ben Watson. Osweiler is not stellar in his first real season as the starter for the Bengals. I doubt Osweiler is going to stay, especially when you have Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater, Derek Carr coming up in the next draft. Then we've got the Dallas Cowboys squeaking a victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Colt McCoy was playing fairly well during the game, but did get injured where Nick Foles finished off a drive with a touchdown where he threw 2 passes. But Russell Wilson having a good game with 226 yards, a touchdown rushing, and a touchdown passing. We see his tight end, Jason Witten, with 93 yards being his main man. Then we've got the Tennessee Titans defeating the Washington Commanders. This was a surprise to me, but Tavares Jackson just has a hard time sticking with a team. But when he's with a team, he tends to play well. Now, he does have probably the second best wide receiver in the league, Greg Jennings. As you can see, a very stellar player here. He did get hurt, though, so he's out for a little bit. But he is a solid contributor for this Tennessee Titans team. 91 overall, one of the best in the league. So they get the victory by 1 touchdown. Vic, with 327 yards and 57 rushing yards, falls short. Travis Kelce, though, in his rookie debut, gets 145 receiving yards and a touchdown. Then you have the rematch of 2 back-to-back Super Bowls, although Quinn and Palmer are different quarterbacks than Manning and Matt Schaub. You see Brady Quinn, who was Player of the Week, gets 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, no turnovers. Pretty solid game for him. And then, of course, you see Carson Palmer not playing poorly, but 2 interceptions did not help them. Did not help the Giants. Devin Aromashodu shined for the Giants, and then Pierre Garçon with 150 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Then we had the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers squeaked by with a field goal. Kaepernick played fairly well, 293 yards, and then Gabbert with 199 yards, but it was Darren McFadden getting 121 yards, whereas Ray Rice had a terrible 13 attempt, or excuse me, he had a decent 83 yards. Sorry, I thought it was 13 rushing yards. 13 attempts, 83 rush yards. Decent running game there, but you see 164 yards combined for the 2 running backs for Tampa, Javid Best and McFadden. Too much for the Ravens to handle. Then we've got the Jets falling to the Miami Dolphins. Now, when I did a small test in Madden 24, I had the computer simulate the season. And what they discovered was the Miami Dolphins are supposed to just light it up this year. Supposed to have the Coach of the Year. Newton's supposed to be MVP, the Super Bowl MVP, and the Dolphins are supposed to win the Super Bowl. So even though the Jets are loaded with like Clinton Portis and Alex Smith, they struggled in this game against the Miami Dolphins, who had a pretty decent outing. I mean, Newton didn't have to do much, only 170 yards, but Forte, Newton on the ground, McKnight got a little bit involved. But even Calvin Johnson Jr. didn't have a fantastic game, but it was a good enough game to beat their division rival. Then we've got the Atlanta Falcons defeating the St. Louis Rams. They got off to an early lead, and the Rams sort of fought their way back. As you can see, 359 yards for Luck with 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Hightower, a little bit irrelevant in this game. But the real shining star was just Peyton Manning, or was Le'Veon Bell, with 132 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns in his rookie debut, and LeGarrette Blount getting a touchdown as well. Manning just had to be a game manager, and he did. They still have Fitzgerald, Bubba Franks, even Le'Veon Bell got 42 receiving yards. So good game for Bell in this first game of the season. Then you got the Raiders taking on Seattle, and Oakland comes away with the victory. We see Matt Ryan with 215 yards, 2 TDs. Green and Vereen and Pierce all combined for about 128 yards together. Green with the 2 rushing touchdowns. Manning, 3 interceptions, not a good game for him. And they do have Mike Glennon as a backup, so we will see if the Seahawks decide to keep with their 32-year-old quarterback that they signed in free agency, or if he decides to go somewhere else. Now, this is not his draft info, but anyway, he was like the 8th or 9th pick in the draft to the Chiefs. Then we go to the Chiefs. Now, Brandon Whedon played pretty good. 277 yards, 3 TDs. He had a great back shoulder pass. The Chiefs led for most of the game. The game was at 28-21. Cardinals drive down the field. Mike Wallace, a big factor there. You see Mike Wallace with 205 receiving yards and a touchdown. He had a fantastic game. But the Cardinals were able to not only get the tying touchdown, they went for 2 and got the lead, 29-31. And Whedon just somehow, with the little clutch factor, comes through with a field goal attempt. And, of course, Ryan Suckup nailed the 45-yard field goal. Then we have the Buffalo Bills, the Tebow Buffalo Bills. This is his first game as a Bill since coming over from the New Orleans. But it was Jason Campbell just lighting it up. 251 yards. Mark Ingram with 97. Campbell even had a rushing touchdown himself for 2 yards. And the Bears come away with a solid victory over the Bills. I have a feeling the Bills are going to be a pretty bad team. Then the Green Bay Packers take on the Texans. So we have a battle of the top quarterbacks in the 2009 NFL Draft. Matthew Stafford, who's always been with the Green Bay Packers. And then the Houston Texans, Mark Sanchez, who was with the, what was his first team? The Chicago Bears. And then he went to, I can't even remember where he first started. Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know if there's something that jogs my memory. But, if I remember, I'll tell you. But Mark Sanchez kind of bounced around. This is his 3rd team, the Houston Texans, and he is not able to come away with the win. He got 2 interceptions there, so not ideal performance for him. But DeAndre Hopkins, the rookie, has 129 yards and 1 TD. And then we have the Monday Night Football games, where you see Big Ben and the Steelers were leading the entire game, and then the Patriots came back for the lead. Pittsburgh in the 4th quarter, the Pittsburgh Steelers came back, took the lead again, and then with a last-minute drive in the 4th quarter, under 2 minutes, Brady scores a touchdown to Jamal Charles, and that ends it. There was a receiving touchdown there. Brady with 323 yards, Roethlisberger with 349. As you can see, 2 great quarterbacks duking it out on Monday Night Football. Great game for them. I think Jamal Charles gets the game ball because he came up with, I think he had the most total yards, but also he had 2 receiving touchdowns, and of course, the game winner. Delaney Walker, though, did have 3 touchdowns, 133 yards, so a great game for him in Pittsburgh. And then we've got the Denver Broncos falling short after leading the entire game against the Chargers. Aaron Rodgers was able to make a comeback with Santonio Holmes with 143 yards and a touchdown for Holmes. He's their top threat, the deep threat for the Chargers. Bradford played pretty well, actually, throughout most of the game. Bradshaw with his 79 yards. Foster, though, his first game as a Charger since coming over here from the 49ers, gets 114 yards and a TD. A.J. Green also living up to his potential. Now, looking at some stats real quick, we see Luck leads the league there, top 5. I'll let you take a look at this if you want kind of to examine it further. Feel free to pause. We see Peterson leading the rushing leaders, and the receiving, Mike Wallace, Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, and then Travis Kelce. Now, I do have some highlights coming up, so I've got several variations of that. So enjoy the highlights from Week 1 as we've wrapped up Week 1, and we'll be moving into Week 2 very shortly. Here are some top plays of the week. Most of these are going to be passing plays. We'll have some top running plays. But here's a beautiful throw there by RG3 to who else but Baldwin, who runs it in for a touchdown. Then you have, that's not Lamar Jackson. That's Tavares Jackson completing it to probably the second best receiver in the league, Greg Jennings, getting that easy, not easy, but hard-earned touchdown. Then you got Reggie Wayne breaking a tackle, running all the way to the end zone. Beautiful play there for Reggie Wayne. And then another play here for the Colts. I thought this was a very unique passing here situation where Quinn threads the needle along the side there, and right there, luckily not intercepted, but a touchdown nonetheless. Then you got Blaine Gabbert looking to throw and throws a touchdown to a leaping Jeremy Maclin for the touchdown for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, dragging his toes in bounds. And here we have a unique little wide receiver screen where Greg Solis gets a big touchdown. I don't know if that was a good play on his part or just like a really good blocking scheme there that just paved the way for that score. Then you have Eli Manning connecting with Jackson. There we see a beautiful there, Chad Jackson. That's the same one from the Patriots that never went anywhere. And then we have Vernon Davis making a leaping catch over a defender. I just thought there was a very unique play there. Great on his part. Then you've got Andy Dalton back to pass, throwing up to Mike Wallace, who had over 200 receiving yards in this game. Now they have Brandon Weeden a little bit earlier, putting the beautiful back shoulder pass there. I can't believe he dotted that pass, but he did. And then we got the last play coming up here. Mark Sanchez giving DeAndre Hopkins his first career touchdown, blown coverage somehow, and Hopkins comes away with the score. And now some running plays that were pretty good this week. We see Arian Foster pounding his way in for the touchdown. And there's Reggie Bush with a big touchdown run. Beautiful play there. He's still a tank, a force to be reckoned with. Then, of course, Darren McFadden, who ran for over 2,000 yards last season, gets a touchdown. He's been a beast. And in the same game, the Ravens fire back with Ray Rice running in a touchdown. Then Le'Veon Bell, this is his second rushing touchdown of the game. Look at him just breaking tackles. Already somehow an X factor. I don't know how that is, but he is. And then you have Sean Green, a good solid running back for the Raiders, just breaking tackle after tackle until he gets into the end zone. I mean, I don't know if that was just a Madden glitch, but it looked pretty cool. And here we go with some highlights from this week of QB scrambles. So there we have we have Matthew Stafford running it in for Green Bay. Here's Joe Flacco running around and kind of beating Michael Johnson there for a beautiful touchdown run for the Panthers. Russell Wilson back to pass against Jacksonville. He rolls out, and you see a beautiful run there, getting the touchdown, extending Dallas's lead. Carson Palmer, the old man, is dancing around, looking to throw to somebody, and finds an open lane, probably faster than he is in real life. Then you have Alex Smith doing the same thing, rolling out, and it's all green till the end zone. Then you have Tim Tebow looking to throw, rolling around, and here he actually makes the completion for the touchdown. I just thought there was some good dancing in the backfield in order to get that touchdown off. And there's that Jacoby Jones pass. And then they have Jason Campbell Back to pass, looking to throw. And he rolls right up the middle and gets the touchdown. And there you see that highlight right there. And then from the NFC North, we have RG3 with 2 rushing touchdowns. There he is running around in circles until he finally gets into the end zone. Nice little shifty little run there by RG3. We'll go ahead and see that one again. And then he goes and gets his second rushing touchdown of this game. Looking to throw, rolls around, and nothing but open field. Gets all the way into the end zone. Touchdown again for RG3. So that's kind of the recap here for this video. I hope you like it. Please like this video if you liked this Madden content. And also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Lots more to come.